Hi everyone, myself and Evan will be sharing with you some nutritional tactics for this year's upcoming Tour de Picnic. As you all know, Tour de Picnic is an 80-kilometre bike ride and a 17-kilometre cross-country run all the way to Electric Picnic. Three great charities, Laura Lynn, the ISPCC and Ronald McDonald House will gain from your endeavours on Friday, September 2nd. For more information, head to tourdepicnic.ie. So we've learned lots about fueling before and during exercise. Surely there must be nothing left to do when you get to the finish line and start celebrating. Is there anything else, Evan, that we need to think about?
Well, actually, Sinead, yes, there is. When it comes to sports nutrition, there's actually a massive emphasis on the recovery element. So how quickly someone can bounce back from an exercise session. Basically, it boils down to the 3 R's: repair, refuel, and rehydrate.
So I've hit the finish line, Evan. What's the first step of recovery?
So the first R there, that's repair, and that refers to protein intake and how that's going to interact with our muscle and how that repairs from exercise-induced damage. So generally speaking, Sinead, what we're looking at is making sure an athlete gets enough protein in their diet so that they can support that repair and normal functioning. We also want to make sure that an athlete has protein spread evenly throughout the day. So just to preface this, an endurance athlete needs around 1.2 to 1.4 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein per day. So if you have an 80 kilo cyclist, runner, triathlete, etc., that's around 96 to 112 grams a day. It's actually an awful lot less than people think they require. So that's our first R, that's protein.
And what does that look like in terms of food?
So practically speaking, if I'm trying to help an athlete get some protein after the exercise, I'm going to look at something like chocolate milk, or you're going to look at some protein milk, maybe with a piece of fruit, or even something like a bagel with some jam. Breads have quite a lot of protein in them as well. You could also, if you were prepared enough, you could make something like overnight oats with a yogurt in it and some fruit. All of those options would give you a good amount of protein, and they're easy and convenient.
Brilliant. So I've started my muscle repair. What's the next step?
So the next step is the second R, and that is refuel. So when we look at refuel, what we're talking about is filling up our glycogen tank. So that's our body's carbohydrate store. And for endurance athletes, this is absolutely critical. The quicker we can refill that tank, the quicker an athlete is going to bounce back in terms of their energy levels and their ability to train the following day. Practically, Sinead, what we want an athlete to do is have high GI, high glycemic index carbohydrates. And what that means is those are carbohydrates that we absorb very, very quickly. So time and speed is of the essence here. High GI carbohydrates will be, again, going back to something like our chocolate milk. It has some sugar added to it. So it's actually a perfect solution in this case. Or we could go back to our bowls of cereal or our breads with jam. All offer similar utility in terms of being quick carb hits for promoting recovery.
Super. So I've repaired, I'm refueling. What's the last R?
So that third R is rehydration, and this is a big one. So athletes have huge variability in terms of their fluid and sweat losses. Some athletes can lose 3 litres of sweat per hour, Sinead, and almost a teaspoon of salt. So it's really important that we get these guidelines right. First of all, what I would say is we need to help an athlete get their baseline requirements met. So for most people, that's going to be their weight in kilos by 35. So if we go back to the 80 kilo example, if you're an athlete and you're 80 kilos, you're looking at around 2.8 litres a day of fluids. And that can be tea, water, juice, milk, coffee, before you exercise. If we want to factor in the exercise requirements, then it's very, very simple. We can get an athlete to do a sweat test.
A sweat test, what is that?
It's exactly what you think it is. So we're testing what an athlete's sweat loss would be in an exercise bout. So for people doing Tour de Picnic, the most practical way of doing this is your last long ride before Tour de Picnic. Weigh yourself before and after, whatever that weight loss is. Let's say it's going to be a kilo. You want to multiply that by 1.5. So you're looking to consume about 1.5 litres of fluid. That's a very rudimentary way of doing a sweat test, and that's going to land most people within close proximity to their requirements.
And what would be good options then of drinks or fluids to take on board at the very end?
Yeah, great question actually. So ideally it's not just going to be plain water. we want a fluid that has a little bit of carbohydrates and a little bit of salt in it. Those three elements together actually promote better fluid absorption and rehydration. So again, you can go for something like a sports drink, or if you are not in close proximity to them, you can have some electrolyte tablets and some fluids. More practical still, you could try milk. That actually has a comparably decent rehydrating effect to a sports drink itself. So three options there for you.
Fantastic. So that's the 3 R's of recovery: repairing, refueling and rehydrating, to make sure you get the most out of your time at Electric Picnic.
Best of luck in the TDP. So if you'd like some more information on your sports nutrition, this booklet is freely available to download on the National Dairy Council website at ndc.ie.